Hello, beautiful listeners, and welcome back to another episode of the Music Business Corner. We are live from the Media Hub on RideRadio.ca, and I am your amazing, duper amazing host, Deborah Mossa. This podcast is all about the ins and outs of the music industry, and if you are familiar with the show, you know that every week we have a different guest who works in the industry, and we started off with the live section. If you didn't know, well, now you do. And today I'm very excited because we have one of the guest that I was waiting for the longest time to have on the show. Finally, we made it work. He's here. Please, let's give a warm welcome to Matt Lambert.
Hello, what's up?
How you doing?
Oh my God, it's been so long.
I know.
I can't believe I graduated, a year ago now?
It's crazy.
Almost.
It is crazy. I mean, I'm about to graduate now.
That's scary.
I'm coming
really
for you,
scary.
Matt.
Yeah, you're coming for my job?
No, I'll let you do that. You're too good at that. I'd rather be at the front of the industry. So,
yes.
Do you want to tell us what is your job?
Yes. So, hello. I'm Matt. I'm a graduate of MBM. I graduated back in April of last year, 2025. We're in 2026 now.
Yes, I know. I confused that too.
That's concerning. But yeah, so I really focused on the live sound section, sort of like the tech nerdy stuff, which is what I really enjoy doing. So after MBM, I was like, okay, I'm just going to really focus on this, having done some in-venue roles at Bond Street here in Oshawa. And I just got lucky. There was an open position at Rebel, which is this big nightclub in Toronto. They're known for doing a lot of like more DJ, hip-hop type events, a little bit outside of my comfort zone because I'm a big metal guy.
Yeah.
Do a lot of that sort of stuff. But I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. I did a lot of the summer events at their outside Cabana venue. It's sort of like a pool bar, which was like a great, sort of footboard into doing bigger events there. And now I do a lot of the events in the main room they have there. Mm-hmm. The upstairs sort of like noir nightclub sort of room. It's a little bit smaller. And so now I'm just really focused on trying to just bolster my live sound skills. I'm learning a little bit of the visual side of the industry as well, because for those of you that don't know, alongside doing like all the mixing sort of nerdy sound stuff, there's also like, obviously there's lights happening. Some shows have lasers, there's fog and special effects. Another big thing is video as well at our venue. Yeah. So yeah, I've been really just trying to appreciate this while I can. It's a super busy, very nitpicky. It's a tough industry for sure, especially once you really focus on making this your career. But I really enjoy what I'm doing. And I'm still new at it, so I can appreciate it for now. In 10 years, I might be like, oh, this sucks. I hate this. But
I mean, you are really good at it. You are, I don't know if you know, but you are the legend here in the program. So every time we talk about sound, we talk about you.
Oh, I don't like thinking about that now.
Keegan is working at the Bond Street.
That's my goat. See, Keegan is my boy. Exactly. He's my apprentice. I was like, oh, I'm just going to bring this guy in for a shift. That guy's he's so smart. He's so much better than me, too. People don't realize this guy is like a genius, not just engineer, but he's a composer. Yeah. Have you ever seen that guy go in like the studio and he's like, yeah, I'm not that good at what I do. And then he'll just start making just random stuff and you'll go like, what are you doing? Yeah. He's bound to be like some crazy avant-garde composer sort of guy.
He is really cool. I mean, sometimes when we get to class early, you see him lock in with his laptop and it's just with his headphones and he's just vibing. And he shows us what he's doing. I was like, damn, that's really good.
No, that guy's nuts. I remember when I first met him, I was like, I don't know about this guy. Sure enough, a year later, he's like texting me just random stuff about sound or just random things in general, showing me songs he's working on. I'm like, genius, absolute genius. But that's the beautiful side of this industry is that a lot of people who get into live sound, I find a lot of them don't realize they want to do live sound. Mm-hmm. Like Keegan, for example, I can't remember what he wanted to do. Oh, he had this whole Free Couch Incorporated, that label.
Free Couch.
And he was like, oh, I'm just kind of interested in learning more of this stuff. And now he's like, this is what I want to do. I love doing this stuff. And I'm like, that's sick. And that's something we've really bonded over too, which, for me, that's one of the most valuable parts of this program is having those bonds, connecting with people.
Yeah, I feel like Keegan's one of those people that's going to go far because he's also interested in visuals. Yes. And he has this cool cameras, and we did the music video assignment as well. And He is a cool guy, but we do call him Mal Lambert 2.0, and then there's going to be a 3.0.
I can't wait to find out the 3.0. They keep getting better and better.
I think the 3.0 is right there.
Oh my God, is that the 3.0? Am I staring my successor in the eyes right now? Are we going to do an introduction?
Oh, hell yeah.
Do a little introduction.
That's Kai. Hi, everybody, behind the stage.
You can't see. Do we have like a mirror or something we could flash? That'd be so sick.
Well, if they go on their social media, they will see them because we're also dating, so.
Is this public? Is this the first announcement on the podcast?
Yeah, it is the first time I'm on the podcast.
Welcome to the Valentine's Day special, everybody.
It is a Valentine's special.
Yeah, Deborah, talk a little bit about yourself. I mean, we've been talking about me for the past 2 minutes.
I talk about me a lot. This is season 2, so it's a little. They know everything about me. They know that I'm kind of crazy, that I'm Italian, that I make music.
It's all kind of one and the same. That's all, Italian, crazy, music. Yeah, they all go hand in hand a little bit. So
they know I love Olivia Dean, right?
Yeah.
That I lost concert to Ariana Grande.
So understandable. All around understandable.
I went to see 21 Pilots.
Oh, that's not understandable.
Talking about visual, that was such a great show, actually.
I'm a big hater. I won't lie. That one's one I can't get with. I don't know why. I think it's the fan base that really kills it for me.
Okay, I can accept that. Yeah, that's valid. Yeah, that's a valid point. But we had to go for a marketing assignment, right?
Yes.
So that was the best concert we could get out of everybody else. Like, honestly, between 21 Pilots and see Morrissey, I prefer to see 21 Pilots.
Oh my God. Yeah, honestly, don't blame you. Actually, for that project too, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Because you also talk a lot about the community as part of that project, right?
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense.
So we had to interview people, and it was nice. And also, like, they put on a great show. Like, regardless if you liked them or not, because I was not like that big of a fan, but the visuals that they use are amazing. They literally, because it was at now it's called RBC, the amphitheater, but it was Budweiser.
Yeah.
And they set up a car on fire on the lawn. They started playing on it. Like, it was good. Like, it was a good concert. They put on a great show.
Yeah, like I have a lot of friends that are into them, and they were all like, "It's the best show ever." And I'm like, whatever. And then I look at videos, and I'm like, yeah, I get it.
It was good. Because I'm not a fan, yet I went there and I was like, this is cool.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
you know,
for sure.
I'm glad I paid to come see this.
Exactly, yeah. And, of course, Bud Stage or, RBC Amphitheater.
Yeah.
We're not calling it that.
I
Sorry,
hate that
we're boycotting that.
I know.
It's not. I mean, I guess it is Canadian still, but it feels like Budweiser just feels so much more Canadian.
It's cool, yeah.
Right?
It's like Budweiser stage.
Yeah, but it's a great venue, obviously.
It is a good venue.
So very
I like it.
Especially because it would have been the fall, September, or was it?
Yeah, it was. Oh God, yeah, I think it was September, October. Because they run shows until October, I believe.
Yeah,
they're not terrible.
So it would have been cool, yeah.
Because it was about to get canceled because it was a storm coming.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So they didn't even finish the show. There was no opening act. But you know what? We still got to see it, so
fine.
I'm not complaining about it. And I know that a lot of people in the program from last year were working at Budweiser this summer. There was Maxine, Stacy.
Anna, I think.
Anna, yes. Yeah. There was a bunch of people working there. And
yeah.
There was Devin from Third Year as well.
Yep, Devin as well. Yeah.
It was a cool experience. So let's get back to you.
Yes, we got a little bit off topic. Talking about 21 Pilots. Let's get back to...
So what got you into music in the first place?
Oh, man. I mean... It's like with everybody, music is just kind of all around us. For me, what really made me connect with music is just sort of my family. So growing up, I mean, you know, your dad and your mom influence a lot of your musical tastes a lot. But I think what really made me connect with music was my uncle in Newfoundland. He's sort of like a weird metalhead type into like all the like Tool and Mastodon and Gojira types. And I remember even before I was into like any heavy music, he was like trying to show me how to play this stuff on drums. And I was like, this music is terrible. This sucks. Now, of course, I'm a huge fan of all those bands because slowly it just kind of, you know, he infected me with those music tastes. And it was just something that, especially like I wasn't super big on music until around high school. And then I think I just found a few bands that were like really important to me. I really connected with. Of course, all the like Linkin Park, all those edgy, like emo adjacent bands. That was the first time that I was like, this is really powerful, emotive music. And that just kind of eventually, you know, I absorbed some of my friends' music tastes. I really got into like Tyler, the Creator, a lot of those like internet hip hop bands. I got big into like electronic music with like Skrillex, all that like internet dubstep type stuff. And then it just became a competition for myself to just find weirder and weirder music and just like expand my tastes more and more so. But yeah, and then also in high school, I was just so into music. I was like, I need to learn an instrument. But once you're in high school, you're already kind of at the point where learning a new instrument, I found it to be kind of difficult. But I was like, okay, I'm going to learn how to play drums. Terrible drummer, horrible drummer. Played with like a few bands. Oh, they didn't go well at all. Did a number of gigs and my friends were like, oh, that was so good. And then I watched videos and I'm like, oh, no.
I want to see those videos now.
Oh, they'll appear someday. I'll keep them. I'll gatekeep them for a while, but eventually they'll surface. But
once you're super famous, you're like, okay, now I can control that.
You know what? Learning an instrument is great, especially if you're not into music, because then it makes you appreciate the actual talented people in the world, right? Because like with drumming, I'm like, oh, I'm getting really good, and then you watch like videos of people who are actually good, and you're like, oh, like
that's what I'm supposed to
this
do.
is like this is good for me, but this is actually good, right? So like I remember like I think one of the first times I met you, I think it was when we were doing
the music show at the Students Association.
Yes, exactly.
Yes,
that's what I was thinking about. And I was like, I think you like submitted an application or something, or someone told me like you were an artist in the program.
Angie. It was Angie.
Was it Angie?
Yeah, she
of course.
was the first person that I actually met and got me to performing on campus.
Exactly. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like we need artists. I don't think you had much of like an online presence at that point.
Yeah, no, I didn't. The jour didn't even exist. It was
Exactly.
mostly me, just Deborah, doing my thing.
I was like, okay, whatever, come out and perform. And you know, it was one of those like terrible productions. I was just like trying to do live sound stuff, could not get anything going. But I was like, okay, I'll just run this event. And then you came out and you performed, and I was like, talent right there,
Thank you.
Because you're good at guitar, but your voice, I was like, it's very like, you know, you pointed out Olivia Dean. You got sort of like that like lounge jazz sort of vibes.
Yeah.
It's very smooth, right? Not like, you know, you have all these like dramatic, like, oh, a good singer where they're like, you know, hitting these like crazy high notes.
Yeah.
It's like I don't care about that. Anyone can do that. It's more about context and stuff like that. And I was like, this is talent, right? It was one of those kind of things where I was like, okay, I have no idea how to sing. Sure, but like at the same time, I was like, yeah, this is actual talent. And then sure enough, you drop your music and that kind of thing. So yeah, it was like, but anyways, going back to what, you know, my musical journey, yeah, like learning instruments, I think gave me a lot of perspective on talent in the industry.
Yeah.
And it definitely, for me, learning drums especially, it made me realize I want to be involved in the music to some degree. I didn't realize that was going to be a profession at the time, but I was like, oh, I really want this to be a part of my life because it's something that's really meaningful for me. So, you know, time goes on. I don't know if I told you this, but I went to university for a bit. I
didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't know this?
No.
Oh, yeah. So Durham College was my second post-secondary stint. During the pandemic, right out of high school, I was like, I want to be a veterinarian. So,
that's very different.
Yeah, it's a little bit different because I was a STEM kid, like really into sciences, that kind of thing. And so I went to Guelph, which is like the big veterinary school. And I was like, you know, I really love this, blah, 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 blah. You're in the middle of the pandemic though.
Yeah.
So you hate life all of a sudden. And I'm like, man, like I don't want to be in a classroom just studying all this like very theory heavy stuff the rest of sort of my educational stint. And then, you know, you also have to do a bunch of volunteering and it's a big grind doing any sort of STEM career like that, right? So that's when I was like, well, I really like music. Is this something that I could really make as a career? So I was like, I'm going to be a drummer professionally. Did not last very long. But then through doing that, you just meet people and they're like, oh, hey, we need someone to just push faders for us for our band. And I was like, okay. So I had a few buddies that were like, oh, come on out and set up speakers and microphones and stuff. And I was like, okay, sure. Sure enough, what is this, 5-6 years later, full time doing this professionally. It's just one thing kind of leads to the next, but it was something that I really just locked in on. And yeah, it was really just passion in the end that came. It was just one thing to the next.
Yeah, that's really cool. So how did you get into MBM? Like, how did you find out about the program and how did you grow in the program?
See, I don't know how I found out about MBM, to be quite honest with you, because I remember when I was first looking into education for this sort of stuff. Of course, you hear about stuff like Metalworks is like the big sort of school for that. There's some other ones like I think it's RAC and
the Harris Institute as well.
Yes, and Trebas, someone recommended to me. And there's OI Art, which is over in London, which is like another. It's more of like the tech side. But I was like, okay, I need something broad because I don't really know if live sound is really going to be it. And I guess I just looked up different music-related programs that don't require theory because I don't know theory at all. And I stumbled upon this place, came for a tour, and I was like, this is fire. They have a recording studio. I was like, yes, this is what's up. I remember I had been to like a couple shows, I think at like the Biltmore before, and I was like, okay, it's cool how it's sort of like a small town vibe, which means that like if you're here, you probably have a higher chance of being able to get involved.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that is true.
Because it's a tighter community. I was also kind of like, okay, Oshawa's a bit more of a rock metal vibe. That's my style. I could probably kind of get in with that. And then in the end, I was just like, this feels like the right fit. And yeah, like throughout the time, it was something that I really enjoyed. The community was always something I really enjoyed. Going to the Biltmore, shout out the Biltmore. Love the team there. Shout out Jacob. He was my live sound professor in the first year, which was kind of crazy looking back on. Shout out the Atria, and of course, shout out Bond Street, which wasn't even open when I first started the program. Yeah, it opened, I believe, in the spring after I started.
Oh, wow.
And I was just telling someone the other day, I remember when it first opened, they did a few like good shows. They had like Flatliners was, I think, the opening show. I like Flatliners, did not know about this venue. I was like, there's no way this place is open. So only found out about the show, really like found out it was a serious thing a few weeks after it happened. And sure enough, it slowly builds. And now it's like a community pillar, which is really cool.
That's I thought it was there for the longest time and didn't know that.
Yeah, no, it literally opened 2024. Okay. I could be wrong about that. I know they're gonna hassle me for that one, but it's fine. Yeah, no, it's really cool how it established itself so quickly too. Yeah. And I think part of that came from doing all these Oshawa Music Week events, especially the first year it was open. Yeah. Which is how I got into Bond Street, because we did some sort of low key, I can't remember which event it was like genre swap or one of those. Yeah. And it was horrible, but I remember their in-house tech was like, do you guys want to like potentially come in as sort of like an intern sort of role? And sure enough, they kind of
started. Yeah,
they kept us around, which was cool. And now it's actually a much better venue. Like it was a new venue, so kind of there was a lot of things they were still working out. Now it's really solid. It's amazing. Yeah. But yeah, the community in Oshawa is really cool.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like there's everybody's close together, so it's easier to reach for new opportunities. And even Bond Street, the fact that they have local jams every Thursdays and you can just go there, and gives a lot of visibility. Like Gish won a prize there for the contest as well. Yes. Shout out to Gish, shout out to Trent.
Shout out Gish.
It's a great band. And there's a lot of new bands emerging as well. And like it's rock and metal based, so there's a community there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's one of those things where like local jam, I think I was doing like the first few sessions they did. Like I was with that for a long time, and it was cool how originally it was like a broader mix of artists and genres, but the community that really stuck with it was younger people. So like high school age kids, kind of a bit younger as well. And that's how you really get like an art scene, right? Like in Toronto, there's a lot of these smaller venues where artists can go and perform. But in these small towns, you really need spaces like that allow these developing artists to come in and just play the worst sets ever, because that's how you work it out, and that's how you meet other band members, and all of a sudden you have like member A from one band and member B from another band coming together, and then that's how the serious musicians find each other, right? Yeah. And that's how you had bands like Protest the Hero and like all these other bands that came out of Oshawa, but even like Alexis on Fire and Silverstein and all those other Ontario bands like 20 years ago. That's the only way they would have really been able to make it. That's why nowadays, like, you don't see as many big bands coming out of Ontario, at least in my view. Maybe I'm just completely wrong. But like that heavy scene really developed around that, like the Dungeon in Oshawa. That was the whole vibe 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And now, sure enough, the Dungeon's back, and you have these young people that are developing these heavy bands because they really vibe with the community. So it's really cool for me to see, as someone who's a really big fan of those genres, and just seeing how younger people take modern influences and their personal taste and that kind of thing, and combine it in a way that is just very creative and experimental. Because they go in and they're like, well, this isn't a big deal. If we screw up, whatever.
Nobody's gonna know.
Exactly. And that's really cool. And it's just cool seeing how that community has grown over time as well, along with Bond Street. Right? So that's, if you have never been to the local jam at Bond, definitely recommend. You're going to go and see some terrible sets, but you'll also see some sets that are actually like mind-blowingly cool. Occasionally you'll have an artist that comes in and is just like nuts. Like, actually, here's another shout out. I think it was in the first few months we did the local jam session. We had an artist named Justice Kamari who came in. He's like a reggae sort of artist, very Bob Marley influenced. Came in, and I was like, I have no idea who this guy is. This could go either very well or very poorly, as always, right? Comes in, amazing, like super, super talented, amazing voice. And I was like, that guy's really cool. And so I didn't really keep up with him that much. I'm at Rebel the other day. All of a sudden they bring him out as like a special guest for some like main stage show. And I was like, nuts. Like, it's crazy, right? But he used these little spaces to kind of help build a platform, and he used it for like promotional too. Like, you go out and you do a little show like that, you film the whole thing, post it on social media, people are like, well, this guy actually has talent, right? And he legitimately, he's a talented fellow. So it was really cool to see him suddenly play like before 3,000 people after playing to 20 people at 222.
That's cool though.
But yeah, that's I don't even remember what point we were on. We were talking about the community in Oshawa.
Yes, we were.
I've been yapping too hard.
It's good. It's good. I like yapping. So in those cases where, like, for example, you have a local jam and you got to run sound for them and you don't know what the person sounds like how do you handle that?
Not well. A lot. I mean, because with live sound, obviously, a lot of times you'll be doing stuff like sound checks, right?
Yeah.
The idea of a sound check is that you work out those kinks beforehand.
Exactly.
With those local jams, generally there's not going to be a sound check. At most, you're going to be checking maybe one band, and it'll be more of what is called like a line check, which is just making sure each instrument works.
Yeah.
Not that it sounds good, that it works. So really what that comes down to is adaptability. And this is something I've told, like, anybody who's come to me for live sound advice, I've told them this. I'm not the best mixer in the world. Like, I don't have the greatest studio foundation. Like, a lot of the people in your class, MEM class, are far superior mixers than me. Like I look at like Trent and Keegan and just even like Ron, the way he makes all these like Beatles-esque songs, I'm just like, my mind is blown
I know.
when I see that.
He was
right?
supposed to be in the Beatles. I said that.
Yeah, it's nuts. They're probably far superior as engineers. But that's not really all that live sound is about. Like, you can go and just do mixing, but in order to get to that point, you got to go through a lot of just like, just basically being adaptable, being quick on your feet, problem solving and troubleshooting. That's one of the biggest things that you have to do, right? Because unlike being in a studio environment, things come really quickly and you have to react really quickly. Because the moment the music stops, you kill the vibe for that concert, the entire show. And, you know, it happens, but, you know, if you can avoid that, would be ideal, right? So in the case of the local jam session, it really just comes down to, you know what you're being given, you know exactly how much you know, and you got to set yourself up for success the best way you can. So you're like, okay, well, I don't know what this band is going to sound like, but just looking at them, I can guess it's going to be this instrument, this instrument, this instrument. And based off of my experience, this is kind of what I can expect the instrument to sound like. So you can preset stuff like equalization, compression, those different things. And then just when the music starts, just be ready to go as quickly as possible. And again, it's only going to be as good as the tools you're given. So in that case, because you're not given a lot of time or ability to sound check beforehand, you can't expect a perfect mix.
Yeah.
But you can, again, set yourself up in a way that will make it the best possible within, with what you're given, right? And that's why the local jams are actually really good as a training ground for live sound. And that's why I love seeing Keegan do it, because it's something that's just that's what live sound is going to be like. Like, even when you're given like these really long sound checks, half the time the artist comes on, it sounds completely different. It's the generic thing of like an artist during sound check is like really quiet and they're just talking to the microphone, and then they come out and they're like, "What's up, everybody? What's going on, Toronto?" And that changes everything, right?
Yeah.
Again, you just need to be ready. You need to predict what's going to happen once the music starts. So yeah, really, it's just about adaptability.
Yeah.
Just to summarize. Yeah.
I feel like, though, you need to give yourself more credit, because the guys are great. Shout out. I love Keegan. I love John. I love Trent. But I do miss you running the sound. I gotta be honest. There was a certain feeling, like as a performer, when you were running the sound, I felt so safe that I knew that everything was gonna go smoothly, because you got the exact sound that I wanted and then I needed. And you just knew. So I do miss you. And I'm like, oh,
I really do appreciate that. I do. I will say part of that is that is really like, I love singer-songwriter music. That's a weird thing that kind of came up over the past like 5 years. That's like one of my favorite styles of music. Like, my all-time favorite artist, fun fact, is City and Colour. Love City and Colour. Just super mellow, acoustic, kind of alt country stuff.
Yeah.
And I would say most of the people around me and friends in general do not like that style of music at all. I mean, you have like Keegan, who's into all sorts of like abrasive stuff, and then also like dub and reggae stuff and just everything. And then you have a lot of the people around us are obviously into like hip hop, some electronic music. So for me, I guess I would argue part of it just comes with, that's something I'm comfortable with. But, I also, to be fair, I've had a lot more experience than all those guys behind the board. But at the same time, I appreciate the compliment.
Yeah, of course. I ask Kai. I talk about you all the time. Like,
oh my God,
such a cool guy.
The glazing session, like, the head nod over there. Oh,
absolutely.
This is killing me.
So, from sound engineer point of view, so what makes an artist great to work with?
I mean, there's
you can talk about me.
Yes, in your example for, I mean, it comes down to a number of things. With an artist, of course, you always want like some level of competency, for sure.
Yeah, like being able to hold the mic. So many artists don't know how to hold the mic, and it's so impressive to me. I'm like, oh my God, that's basics.
Yeah, and it's like, I get you might not know how to hold a mic, but then you're like, why can't I hear myself? It's like, well, you see, sound goes into the microphone, and if you're not singing into the microphone, then how do you expect that to work, right? So like, let's say in a case like that, let's say this is the example. You have an artist that just does not know how to use a microphone. Yeah. Artist A is going to be like, you suck, I can't hear myself because I'm not singing to the microphone. And you're just sitting there like, well, this doesn't make any sense. Versus artist B is a lot more humble. And they're like, oh, why can't I hear myself? And you go, well, this is how you're supposed to hold a microphone. And they go like, oh, I didn't know that. And, they'll learn from you. They'll listen to you. They're easier to work with. That for me is one of the biggest feelings. Like, I really like working with artists that, and a lot of times you're not just working with the artists. Like at Rebel, I'm working a lot more so with their teams, because like artists don't come for sound checks. They're like, whatever. They have people that do that for them, right? And 9 times out of 10, the gigs that I really enjoy are the ones where the artists and the teams are just having a good time themselves, right? Because if you go into a sound check and they're like being, all nitpicky, that's kind of expected. That's perfectly fine with me. But if they have a good attitude about it, then it's just like, it's amazing. Yeah, right?
It makes the job fun, no?
And like, for example, when we were doing, last weekend, we did Steve Aoki, and that was so much fun. And I mean, like, they really... they have the perfect combination of, they know what they're doing, right? Like they want it to be done right. They don't have time for error. But at the same time, they have so much fun doing that, and they're so confident in what they're doing that they're able to do it in a positive way. So for me, even as someone who is relatively new and probably underexperienced to be in a position like that, they were so nice to me. Like, I never once felt like sort of like a junior engineer. Like, some teams will make you feel like just because you're 24, right? Because most of the people you're working with are like 35, 40, if not older. The entire time their team was just amazing. That, like, even before the show, they brought me in and we did like a group huddle with Steve Aoki. It was just,
that's cool. So you got to meet him?
It was so funny. Oh, I've done Steve Aoki now twice. Like, he came to Cabana during the summer, and he's just like, they're all hilarious. They're just, it's such a great team. And I mean, obviously, if you've been to a Steve Aoki show, it's just a party. It's hardly even a DJ set. It's just like, I'm going to throw cakes. It's mostly for like throwing cakes at the audience. That's his whole thing, is that he comes and throws like a huge birthday cake into the audience. It's like, whatever. It seems fun, not my vibe, but I respect that they just make it a party, right?
Yeah.
And that's behind the scenes as well, and I love that. But yeah, so for me, working with artists that are just really fun, even if they're not that competent, perfectly fine. Because if they're the type of artist where they're not that competent and they're willing to learn, or they're willing to compromise, given that, you know, like if they're expecting really crazy good sound, but they're giving you a terrible source. So like, I'll have some artists that come with like the worst guitars or pedals or stuff like that, and some of them are like, why doesn't the sound good? And I'm like, take a guess. Others are just like, you know, they're open to being like, to taking, you know, feedback and trying to work with me. That's really what it comes down to personally. And, you know, keep in mind that at Revel, you don't get as many of the like ones that don't know anything. So that does play a factor.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? Whereas at 222, you had the exact opposite, where you have some that have no experience, but most of them are willing to listen to me because they see me as sort of like,
the GOAT. You are the
goat.
GOAT.
They do see me as the GOAT. I
mean,
especially for a bunch of high schoolers, I totally get it. They're like, oh, look at this guy pushing the faders. It's crazy. So, yeah, it's a combination of things, but really just like, it's just so fun working with people that are fun and don't take themselves too seriously, right? That's what I really like. So in your case, like, never once did I feel like I'm getting sassed, that kind of thing. And you totally could too, because like, you have enough musical talent where I'd be like, okay, fair. Like, you know, if you're working with an artist that has no musical talent and they're sassing you, you're like,
that's not it. That's not the vibe.
But like, you know, sometimes I'll get MBM artists that have a little bit of sass, and you're like, okay.
No, I would never do that. I saw you as like, and I still do. Like, for me, you were one of the people that are like, they made it. Like, you were, I don't know how to say it in English. My Italian is kicking in. But, you know, like, I see you as somebody to reach out to and be like, oh, Matt knows his stuff. He's cool. He knows how to do his work. And I'm like, I know I can always reach out and just ask him, hey, Matt, how do I do this? Like, I know I can rely on you. Like, you know?
I appreciate that. Yeah. Like, for me, regardless, I do like trying to just be someone who can give advice. Even if I can't, like, I'll have people that come to me and they're like, oh, do you have any opportunities? And I'm like, well, not really. Like, I barely got opportunities myself. But whenever people come asking me for questions, I'm just like, yes. Like, I love, again, back to like Keegan and Trent and all of them. Like, every once in a while we'll get together and we'll work on like music or whatever. And it's so fun throwing ideas back and forth. And that's kind of when I realized that, you know, I've been at this for a while and have like the knowledge base, because they'll ask me things that I think are kind of obvious, but then I'm like, oh yeah, like.
But they're not. That's why I'm telling you, you're not giving yourself enough credit, because you are a great sound engineer. I
appreciate it. I really do.
Yeah, because I feel like everybody here sees you as like, you're knowledgeable. Like, I know that if I don't know something, and I know I can ask you, and I know that you will have the answer.
I appreciate it. I really do.
Yeah, that's why I said nobody runs a sound like you. I do miss your
sound. I don't know about that one though. There's lots.
At least for me personally, like for what I play, I liked the way you reached my my sound. Also, I don't think I've worked with the Keegan or the other guys enough for do that. John, for example, I like the way John runs my sound as well.
Oh yeah, go.
I love John. Is my he's my Italian fella.
To be fair, they all suck. Like Keegan, Trent, John, man, they're all just terrible. I hope someone reaches out to them and makes sure that they hear this, because man,
I will send it to them.
Yeah,
Don't
we
worry.
really don't get along as people. They're rough around the edges.
Yeah. So rude.
Yeah.
Incredibly rude.
This is a shout out to DC faculty. If we can get them banned from campus as well,
Oh, there you go.
that would be nuts. That would be
Could you imagine?
truly nuts. That would be awesome.
No, we're just kidding. We love them.
I love them. I do.
So, we were talking about the artists that you worked with. So we talked about Steve Aoki, which is still massive to me. The fact that you're so humble about it, like, and then you worked with Subtronics and even Pauly D. But then now there's the biggest one, that Chance the Rapper. And then I wanted to ask you that the biggest one, that's when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. Kalani?
I knew that was I knew that would stick with you. That one actually, that was crazy to me, because I don't think I found out about that until like the day before or something. Like,
That's
I didn't
crazy.
realize it was happening. And it was right, I think it was like right after Folded came out. And that was like really, like, people were starting to take notice, because like that song really blew her up a lot more.
Yeah,
right?
she won a Grammy for it.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm totally worth it too. But I think that was like the first live performance she did of Folded too, and I was like, awesome. I'm going to, like, this is going to be terrible. I'm going to ruin it. And
No.
and well, to be fair, part of it is that that performance was at Cabana, and Cabana in many ways is kind of like a DIY venue in a weird way, because it's not a traditional venue. It is like, it's a pool bar. So even though there's a traditional sort of stage with like main speakers pointing down in subs, there's also a bunch of fill type speakers. So it's a really strange sound environment, and balancing all of that is it's tough. And then on top of that, because it's outdoors, you have to stay within a certain like volume threshold, or you'll get shut down, because the islands are like the Toronto Islands are literally right across the water, and we've had noise complaints. It's a whole thing. So I was like, okay, on top of the stress of I have to now mix front of house for Kalani and monitors at the same time, I also have to stay within a certain sound level and make sure it sounds good, not just in front of the stage, but everywhere. And I was like, that was nuts to me. And it was one of the first, because Cabana is mostly DJs, it was one of the first sort of actual vocalists we've had out there. So I was like, oh, this is a tall order, but it was awesome. I had a really good time. I have no idea how good it sounded in the end. I try not to think about it. It was a long time ago. I'm hoping it sounded good. Their team seemed happy. She seemed happy too.
Did you talk to her?
No, I didn't. I won't lie. I was terrified, because like,
That's valid.
I was like, she's a goddess, whatever. And then when she appeared in the DJ booth, I was like starstruck. It was one of the few moments that it like really hit me, and I was like, I can't do that. But working with their team was super great. It was a pretty simple setup, because like it was just her and then sort of like backing tracks happening. But what was really cool for me is that I can't believe I didn't record the different tracks. That would have been so smart. But it was cool because when you're mixing, you get to hear each of the individual tracks isolated. So I got to hear her isolated voice for most of the performance, because that's what I was really focusing in on, to make sure I got the frequency balance right. And she's nuts. Like, she's so talented. And it's like what I was saying with your voice, where it's like, she could probably hit some crazy high notes, but what's really cool about her is that she's just so smooth with it, right?
Yeah.
Like, I listen to her voice, and it's just so calming, and it fits contextually so perfectly. So she came and did that song Folded, and I didn't realize how big that song was, because everyone in the audience like knew it word for word, and I was like, this song is pretty cool. And then, you know, to your point, she won a Grammy for it like a month ago, and that song has been like crushing charts for her.
Yeah.
And then that new song she dropped, whatever, Out the Window or something, has been, you know, also doing well as a result of this success. So it's been really cool for me getting to do something like that. In the moment, I was like, this is cool. But now looking back, I'm like, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why when I see the people we were around Sun for, I mean, again, Subtronics, Chance the Rapper, Steve Aoki twice, Pauly D.
Yeah.
You're not giving yourself enough credit.
Yeah.
Like, that is impressive.
Yeah, Chance the Rapper was the one where I was like, when they told me, I was like, you're joking. Like, I can't do Chance the Rapper. I only did monitors for that one. Like, doing front of house for that would have been horrendous. It would not have gone well. Even monitors, it was not my best show, I won't lie. But
I mean, it's also a learning curve. Like, that's how you
exactly
learn, right? You just throw yourself out there and...
Yeah. It was one of the first shows I did on monitors at Rebel, and the mixer they use, I just don't like it. I'm not a fan of using... Shout out Digico for making the worst UIs of all time. I hate it so much. It's an ST12 for all the tech nerds listening. Not a fan. If it was like an Allen and Heath board, I would have probably slammed it. But I was so nervous too, and I just kept screwing up little things. The show went ahead, like it was probably fine for the audience, but the whole time I was just like, I felt like I was dying. But then at the end, I was like, well, they performed. It was fine.
Yeah.
And then I looked back and I was like, I just did sound for Chance the Rapper.
Yeah.
And I was like again, an artist that all my friends were a big fan of growing up. He was just one of those artists that everybody knew. So that was really cool. Steve Aoki, of course, is...
Yeah.
I always remember hearing him on like radio and like big charts, and I was like, okay, cool, like different level of society, and then you're hanging out in a room with him. Super weird. Subtronics was awesome. That was 2 nights sold out back to back. I guess dubstep is a big thing now all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's coming back a lot.
Yeah, I think like literally last year it was one of the top growing genres or something like that, because you have artists like that. You have obviously Skrillex is huge, but he's going back to doing more dubstep stuff. You have like Crank Dat and Alley Cat and Level Up and all these other artists that are really crushing it right now. So that's really cool for me too, because that's something that I really enjoyed. That was one of the things that got me into electronic music. But then doing that show, again, it was one of those things where I assumed some other engineer was going to do it, but then I'm doing it and I'm like, this is going surprisingly well. And you work with their teams and they all tell you like, that was really good. And it really just makes you, it again gives you perspective, because you're like, I'm my own harshest critic, and I find it tough at times to like really appreciate what I'm doing, because I look at all the times that I've screwed up rather than just like, that was an awesome show. And again, like even if your coworkers and other tech members notice some of these errors, the audience like never does realistically. And that's really something that personally, I think I just need to acknowledge more. But yeah, like working with these big artists, it's one of those things where initially it was like a lot of being starstruck. But now it's one of those things where you have to play it cool a little bit, because if you act too starstruck, they look at you as like a kid that's like too excited and probably underqualified. But you can balance it out and be like, I'm a big fan, but I'm also going to slam, like I'm going to destroy this. And you don't want people to not feel confident in you.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, you should be confident in yourself, because like I said, you are doing great. Like, it is inspiring what you're doing in the industry. It's really cool.
I appreciate it. I really do. But this is only the beginning. This is only the start.
Exactly. You're just getting started, and you're already round sound for Steve Aoki, Kalani, Chance the Rapper, and yet you're still, I'm not good enough. Don't lie to yourself. You are good enough.
True.
You're more than good enough.
I mean, the other thing to consider, and I tell a lot of people this, again, Keegan. I keep bringing up Keegan just to be clear, because I work most closely with him out of anyone in MBM.
Yeah.
As I genuinely think of him as sort of like my apprentice. Absolute GOAT himself. But I always tell him, like, you have to keep some perspective here. Like, the shows you're running right now cannot be perfect because you haven't been at it long enough. And like, I should be telling myself the same thing realistically. Like, I've only been out of this program for like 10 months. Same with Rebel.
So much.
I've only been doing shows in main room for like 6 months. So like, I can't really expect to know everything, but that's something that really any starting engineer needs to realize, is that you can only know so much at any point in time. Like, a lot of live sound comes with just learning things through experience.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that you can't learn outside of that. Like, it's not like live sound is like a really book heavy sort of field.
Yeah.
It's the kind of thing where you need to go out and just by chance you run into like certain types of technology that certain venues have and other venues don't have, and certain teams use, certain teams don't use. And so like certain engineers are going to know a lot about one thing and maybe nothing about others. So like even working with, let's say, Steve Aoki's team, I'm sure there's a lot of their team members that don't know anything about certain sides of the industry because it's just...
Yeah, they just work with that sound. Yeah, because you got versatility because you worked, I mean, Kalani has a very unique and acoustic sound, very R&B and jazzy. Steve Aoki, it's full EDM.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Chance the Rapper, full hip-hop, so it's completely different sounds.
Yeah. And you can't win them all, unfortunately. There's a lot of shows I do that
you get a lot to learn there.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, I learned a lot from the ones that I didn't smash. And honestly, like, there's going to be shows that you look back on, you're like, that sucked. It's
like, what's one mistake that young engineers make that you learned the hard way while you were doing it? Or like, oh, I really messed up there.
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, there's a lot of little things. I'm trying to think if there's like a really great example of something that like Keegan has done, and I've been like, no, don't do that. One thing I see a lot is overconfidence, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that a lot with the people around me, but I just know I've met a lot of techs and a lot of people who are like trying to get into the industry. And I definitely think that you have to have a balance between being confident and being humble.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was saying before, where it's like you don't want to come off as like, I know everything I'm doing, and like their teams look at you and you're like 18 years old, and it's like, okay, well, you probably know a good amount, but are you open to learning, that kind of thing? And as part of the overconfidence thing, one thing I've noticed is that a lot of people who are really heavy in the studio, like recording engineers, that kind of thing, they think that, oh yeah, well, naturally I'll just slam being a live audio tech, right? No, it's different, right? Like mixing in the studio provides an amazing foundation for live sound mixing, for sure, 100%. But it's also, you have to understand that the way you mix in the studio is going to be completely different from live sound. Mm-hmm. So all the theory might pass over, but you got to operate it differently and understand that, like, you know, at times doing a live sound show isn't necessarily about like making an insanely cool mix. It's just about preventing problems that from arising, stuff like feedback. Like if you have feedback happening and your mix sounds amazing, people are only going to remember the feedback, right? Yeah. So little things like just focusing on just setting a foundation for a mix, for example, and remembering that there is always a lot more to learn. Like even when you feel like, oh yeah, I'm at a good place with my knowledge and my job and my role, there's always something more that makes you go like, I know nothing. And that's fine. Like it's good that you don't know anything, because it means you have room to grow. Like personally, if I was ever in a place where I was like, there's no more for me to learn, I would hate it, because I want to just continue progressing. Right?
That sounded so much like Greg Jarvis. Something I would say.
Oh my God, that's so offensive, Frank.
No, I love Greg.
I love Greg too, actually. I've said this before. That class was one of the few classes that I was like, yeah, this rocks. And maybe that's just the most nerdy thing I've ever said, to be fair, but I just really love doing all the musical history. And
it was my favorite class. Like it still is. Like I enjoy a lot copyright law, contract law. Like yes. But music history, it's the way he teaches that class. Yes. It really gets you into it. Like even genres that you're not really interested into. Mm-hmm. He makes you develop an interest in it. Yeah,
I think what's really cool about him, to be honest, is he's always at it with the hot takes.
Yeah.
And like whether you agree with them or not, because most of them, most people did not agree with.
Yeah.
I respect the fact that he's just willing to be bold and be like, this is how I feel. This, you know, it just makes you really think, and it makes you more engaged, because you actively are like, well, if this isn't correct, this is how I feel. And it makes people passionate. And that's what you really want in a class, is you want people who are passionate and willing to like kind of throw things at each other, and, you know, also compromise and be like, okay, well, even if I don't agree with your opinion, I have to sit here and respect it, because I'm going to be, you know, learning from you for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Right?
We missed him this year. He's on back.
Oh yeah, is he on sabbatical again?
No, he got some health issues apparently, so he couldn't teach, and we're so sad about it. We're gonna miss it. I don't want to graduate without Greg.
My boy, shout out Greg Jarvis.
Yeah. So to wrap up, I want to ask you, what's your typical day looks like, and what is the gear that you prefer to work the most with? Like, what's your board that you're like, this is my board that has Matt all over it?
Oh, sure. I'll try to do this as like surface level as possible because I could go into an insane amount of detail. But let's say at Rebel, for example, like most of the gear is already set up because we'll do the same types of shows over and over again. We don't really want to like take everything down just to have it set back up for like a few days later. So typically what I do is I'll go in, depending on whether I'm front of house or monitors, I'll go in, I'll kind of get the board set up to make sure that like audio is passing. Like the first thing I want to make sure is that I can get audio from the mixer to the mains and it's working properly. Part of it is also I just want to be running music while I'm working. It's just my vibe. So typically I'll come in, do something like that, do a little check of, again, depending on what the show is, I'll do a check of stuff like stage plots and input lists just to see what we're going to be dealing with, because that's the basis for how I'm going to be usually setting the stage. From there, generally stuff like running lines for power and for running different inputs. So stuff like you'll run audio snakes to different parts of the stage. So that way, when you're plugging in microphones, it'll get from point A to point B. So then you do all the nerdy sort of patch stuff where you're plugging in cables to get audio from the source to the mixer. That's basically the surface level of how that works. With that being said, then okay, we're crunch for time. It changes day to day. You do a bunch of stuff. You run power, you run audio, you run lines, you set up different things. A lot of it is grunt work at times, but really what you're doing is you're just making sure that the sound gets from point A to point B, and then once you mix it, you're just making sure it sounds good. So you're making the sources sound good and making sure they all sound good together. My favorite gear, if I had to choose one mixer that I'd want to use for the rest of my life, I don't really like the preamps on it, but I really like the Allen Heath boards. The SQ series is really good. The QU series is not, but it works fine. The Avantis is like an advanced SQ. I'd probably want to use either an Avantis or a D-Live. D-Live is nice because it's compact and you could use a bunch of Allen Heath boxes with it. Or alternatively, the Midas series. I have an X32 rack at home, but I'd probably like to use like an M32. I really like using boards with actual faders rather than ones that you have to use like a little iPad or something to mix. Mics, Shure mics. I don't care. I love Shure mics. They're amazing.
They're great. Yeah, they are.
Yeah, shout out Shure mics. Yeah, that's. I think that's that.
Thank you so much.
Is that it for questions?
Yes.
Don't
worry. You did such a great job. Honestly, it was so fun having you here. I would love to have you again if you want to come and want to talk more nerdy stuff.
I'll be back for every episode.
Yeah.
I'll be in the back like a pet. It'll be great.
Yeah, he's going to be the co-host. That's it.
Yeah, I'll pipe in every once in a while. That'll be great.
No, but it was awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to come here and, talk to everybody. And
yeah, I appreciate the invite, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, glazing me, I kind of hate it, but it's also I really do appreciate it. And it does mean a lot to me at the same time.
You know that I always tell my friends when I don't like somebody, I just don't say anything. If I'm giving you compliments, that means I actually mean it. And like I said, you were one of the people that I really looked up in the second year.
That's very sweet. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. There's shout out to Jessica as well, Cruz. Jessica.
Of course. Shout out my whole class. I haven't talked to like half of them, but like there's so many goats in there.
Yeah, there are so many goats. So this is going to be the end of our show, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you really enjoyed Matt. Matt, thanks you again. I wanted to say, if they want to reach out to you to ask you questions, where they can reach out to you.
Sure. I mean, I mainly use Instagram. It's MATT_LAM13, Matt Lamb, my name. Or they can reach out to Deborah, and Deborah will
I'll put you in contact. I get the contacts, guys.
Yeah, I would say either Instagram or email. I'm not going to put my email here because then I'm going to get signed up for a bunch of random websites.
Yeah, no, don't do that.
Yeah, I don't do that, but you can find me. You'll know where to find me.
Yeah. Like you said, if you, worst case scenario, you can ask me. But don't forget that you can follow the Media Hub on social media at the CSA Media Hub. You can also follow the podcast at the Music Business Corner Podcast and our guest at MATT_LAM13. So thank you again for joining us today. This was the Music Business Corner, live from the Media Hub on radio.ca. And this has been the Music Business Corner. I said it again. Yeah, I wrote it twice. Listen, I'm very proud of this one. I hope you will like it. So this has been the Music Business Corner, EQing your mindset, balancing the business, and helping you sound like professional you are.
Yeah, go Deborah. Yippee.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. See you next Monday. Well, that's a lie, 'cause next Monday we have Reading Week, but the Monday after that. See ya.